哦，安哦。好了，那我就先准备完了。啊，这个是有特别去找那个中文补丁啊，之前是找不到，可是好像7月的时候吧，好像就有人丢出那个，有人在帮他丢了中文的，好不容易哦，要不然的话之前想用还用不了，之前会出现错误，所以就会爆炸，就直接爆给你看。啊，那我们就可以实际的看这个故事啦。终于啊，我终于看中文版本的了，可以做一些作词行为，耶、yeah ！然后那个什么阵痛哦，还是什么的，阵痛2那个，就这周先不玩，我这周先玩一些比较对我来讲比较轻松的。我觉得你先玩点轻松的，要不然的话，那个感觉会很烧，很耗脑，好像没有到很耗脑。
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
开始了，这能不能
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
先说这边好像有可以跳出去的，可是我不能跳，对不对？你看中文好像不能跳，所以没什么屁用。好吧，走了。所以这边还可以干嘛呢？虽然变中文的啦，可是也想不起来我当时到底做了些什么。我来按，这电脑都，我知道2选1啊，可是那个是基本流程啊，那个算是很基本的。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference.
他在吐槽我。
Did it advance the story in any way?
他在吐槽我。这种时候不管点什么都是在打键盘声音，真的很好笑。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
好了，我们可以先去体验正经的结局，之后再来玩恶搞的。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
其实还蛮诡异的。他竟然他一个员工，他可以跑到老板的办公室，就而且很远哎，其实还蛮远的。To do in a grass color value s OK。
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
然后这边的这个，如果你待这边太久，它会直接把你封住，所以就不管了。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
对，这个地方又分往上跟往下，算多结局路线，这算吗？
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, what dark secret was being held from him. What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing. He stepped into the newly opened passageway.
哦，我现在要走进来了。为什么这些全部都是纸箱吗？还是直木板？这种吐槽式的真的是很……哎 ，loading。
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long.
这个地方也太大了吧！这个公司到底是
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
先走正经的好了。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out?
不能跳啊！这不能跳，真的很诡异啊！快受不了，不能跳啊！哎，这边有这么多个那个办公桌，老实讲，这边刚好有好几个员工吧，什么人都没有。
Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building.
只有601是刚没反应的。
The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
还有个直接错误的。这样子我就可以很清楚看到到底这边发生什么事情。所以如果我看427会发生什么事情吗？427应该会有没有人，然后说这边什么人都没有嘛，从来就没有人啊。这老板到底是发生什么事情
？Mind control facility. It was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
旁白真的是很能讲。
No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world?
醒来只是一场梦。 不会吧？
Here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Mind control with inputs 。老板呢？老板是不是应该跳出来啊？超大声的啦！
Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes. He had won. He had defeated the machine. Unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, he realized none of this mattered to him. For it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy.
又 happy 了，然后就开始放那个音乐，对不对 ？Happy。他说了嘛，还有很多未解的谜团，所以这是你说的哦。接下来要开始乱玩了，接下来要准备开始乱玩了。震惊的走完了，接下来就是恶搞的。你说的啊？
When Stanley came to a set of two open doors, this was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
现在是几点了？11点半。
Yes, really worth it being here in the room.
什么都不能按。
Room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
没错。好了，马克杯看完了。
But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, Stop trying to make every decision by yourself.
可是上
Asking for me, I'm asking for her.
可是上一章的时候，你跟我讲说
Your chance
还有很多未解的啊。
to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
What？
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
No. Nope. 我觉得完蛋了，等下大家都会被羞辱之类的。我好像有对这么一点印象。这个游戏本质上就是个玩旁白的游戏而已吧，所以这个会想多久？
As Stanley picked up the phone, a white light engulfed him, filling him not just with radiance, but with hope. Hope for a life reunited one... Wait. Oh, goodness. Stanley, did you just unplug the phone?
Yep.
No, that wasn't supposed to be a choice. How did you do that? You actually chose incorrectly. I didn't even know that was possible. Let me double check.
你这
No, it's definitely here, clear as day. Stanley picks up the phone. He's taken to his apartment where he finds his wife, and the two pledge themselves to one another. Music comes in, fade to white, roll credits. Not picking up the phone is actually somehow an incorrect course of action. How is that even possible? None of these decisions were supposed to mean anything. I don't understand. How on earth are you making meaningful choices? What did you... Wait a second. Did I just see... No, that's not possible. I can't believe it. How had I not noticed it sooner? You're not Stanley. You're a real person. I can't believe how
啊，被他发现了。
This is why you've been able to make correct and incorrect choices. And to think I've been letting you run around in this game for so long. If you'd made any more wrong choices, you might have negated it entirely. It's as though you completely ignored even the most basic safety protocol for real-world decision-making. Or did you not grasp the severity of the situation?
你超能讲哎。
Kind of risk on my watch. I'm going to stop the game for a moment so we can educate you properly on safe decision-making in the real world. Please observe this helpful instructional video.
啊，还有影片。
Choice. It's the best part of being a real person. But if used incorrectly, can also be the most dangerous. For example, in this scenario, a hypothetical real person named Stephen has a choice. He could spend years helping improve the quality of life for citizens of impoverished third-world nations.
字幕了。
Or he could systematically set fire to every orphan living in a 30-kilometer radius of his house.
我靠！
Which choice would you make? Remember that unlike here, the real world makes sense, and at no time should you make a choice that does not conform to rational logic. If you find yourself speaking with a person who does not make sense, in all likelihood, that person is not real. Allow the person to finish their thought, then provide an excuse why you cannot continue talking. Turn to a partner and practice saying, "My goodness, is it 4:30? I'm supposed to be having a back, sack, and crack."
Practice.
Excellent. Making choices on a regular basis is the best part to a healthy decision-making process. Most medical professionals recommend making at least 8 choices per day. Do you make more than 8? Less? And finally, if you begin to wonder if your choices are actually meaningful and whether you'll ever make a significant contribution to the world, just remember that in the vast infiniteness of space, your thoughts and problems are materially
怎么突然这么的
and the feeling should subside.
虚无主义啊？
This time, your instructor will guide you in an exercise to test and reinforce the material covered in this video.
啊？
Ah, welcome back. You may have noticed that this room has begun to deteriorate as a result of narrative contradiction. But not to worry. Now that you're properly informed on good decision-making, we're going to revisit a choice you made just a few minutes ago and see what the correct thing to do would have been. This way, please.
这是什么？More 这搞了些什么东西出来啊？啊？
Now that we know your choices are meaningful, we can't have you jumping off the platform and dying. Imagine the main character dying senselessly halfway through the story. That story would make no sense at all. We just need to get you home as soon as possible before the narrative contradiction gets any worse. Unfortunately, it seems this place is not well equipped to deal with reality.
被他发现，被他发现我想做什么了，可恶！可恶啊！好，这边回不去了，只好继续。还开门了，我关了。本质上就是现在这个选择就是专门玩旁白的。我想玩到有一个好像是错误结局的东西，可是
Almost there. You'll take the door on the left, back to the correct ending, the story will have resolution once again, and you'll be home free in the real world. Now remember, all you need to do is behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry back in the other direction. Perhaps we're not too late.
这边扭曲了欸，这边发生了什么？乱乱的，这个扭曲感是怎么回事？异常的好笑，所以我不能够从边强制走过去就是吗？好吧。哎，他就不跟我讲话了。我以为他这边还会再跟我讲，让我再选一次，就没有。好吧，只好走右边了。走左边。
It's ruined. I can't believe after everything we talked about that my story, you've destroyed my work. Why? For what? What did you get out of that? What did you think was so special about seeing the game undone, left here like so much garbage? It's worthless now. And what am I supposed to do? Even if there were a way to continue, would it be worth it? To know that my story is now incorrect? How can I go back to that? I can't erase that knowledge. I'll have to live with it forever, reliving its impossibility forever. I couldn't live that way. Is it better to shut the game down entirely? To willingly destroy all of my work? I don't know. What's the answer? What do I do? What do I do? What do I... No, I have to. I have to shut the game down. I have to. I have to.
他关掉了。
I'm here. I'm still here. Here in this pile of rubbish. With you. You. Who thought you were so clever. Now look where we are. My entire game is destroyed. It was the only thing in the world that was mine, and you've run it into the ground. What, did you think that would be funny? You just had to see? Didn't I impress upon you how important it was to be like Stanley? He actually knows how to do what I tell him to. He understands that if I say to do something, there's a damn good reason for it. That thought hadn't even occurred to you, had it? That there's a world outside of you? You're a child.
超生气的他。
My story. If you'd just gone through the door on the left, you would have seen it. There was a whole underground facility. You would have destroyed it and been victorious. It would have been so perfect. I worked so hard on it. I tried so hard.
哎，
behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
这会轮回吗？
No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly and always
错乱了。
putting the story first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task.
这是那个错乱结局。
Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. No! Why did you do that? Quickly, hurry. Behave exactly as Stanley would. That means choosing responsibly
我看这边会
and
轮回
always
哦，
putting the
所以我应该
story
走左边。
first. I'm quite sure you'll be up to the task. Just follow my lead and you'll be fine. All right. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on
安
his
哦，
left.
那走左边这样应该会没问题了吧？会轮回吗？这个没有，这是没轮回了。我以为这个会遇到那个很错乱的结局，结果他一直只是轮回到强迫我做出正确选择而已。
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
他完全封锁。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
他完全封住我可以做任何选项的地方，哎。 是不是不一样？
Stepping inside his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this, until he saw the door with a voice receiver next to it. Surely behind this door lay all the answers to his questions. And beyond all probability, he knew the passcode. He had seen it on his boss's computer just last week. Night Shark 115. Was this the code to open the door? Would it still work?
我不讲
There was
话。
only one way to find out. Stanley had been trained never to speak up, but now he would draw from within himself the courage to face the unknown. He drew a sharp breath and then spoke the code.
没办法吧？他没办法啊。
Stanley spoke the code. Night Shark 115. He spoke it into the receiver, right there on the wall.
没办法哈，白痴啊你！不一样啦。Night Shark 115。
I'm sorry, is there a problem? You didn't mishear me, did you? Please speak the code into the receiver. Otherwise, we can't get on with the story. This is a crucial step.
他没办法，他没法。
Okay, fine. You're not going to do it. But you know what? It's pretty humiliating to bring you this far, only for you to suddenly decide you have better things to do. I asked you for this one single thing, for your respect. The kind of respect Stanley shows for his choices. He knows what it means to take a story seriously. If you didn't want to see what I had to show you, then why did you come here? You had a choice, you know. You could have gone through the door on the right. You could have done whatever the hell you wanted over there. Why did you come this way? Speak. Say something to me. Explain yourself, you coward. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Stanley? Hello? Are you... Is everything okay? Stanley, please.
哦，那个只是广告而已，不用管
Make
它
a。choice. I need you to walk through the door. Are you listening to me? Can you hear me? Is everything all right?
Stanley, this is important. The story needs you. It needs you to make a decision. It cannot exist without you. Do you understand me? Whatever choice you make is just fine. They're both correct. You cannot be wrong here. We can work together. I'll accept whatever you do. I simply need you to take that step forward, please. Choose. Do something. Anything. This is more important than you can ever know. I need this. The story needs it.
不知道算不算这样结局。
You hear me? Are you there? Are you listening to this? Stanley, are you there? Okay. It's okay, I can wait. You need time to decide. Time to make sure your choice is correct. That is the best choice. That's all right. I'll wait for you to decide what's the right thing to do.
超可怜。
Take as much time as you need.
哎，呢？
Hello. This is a recorded message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
好。好了，现在我可以往下走，我可以选择左边之后往下走，对不对？
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find... Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
往下冲啦！
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all. None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down? Why did doors close automatically behind him wherever he went? And for that matter, these rooms were starting to look pretty familiar. Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt. He found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
Huh? Nope.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black.
What the? 这是这个结局吗？
This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, for just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
这什么？真的很预言呢！天哪，这个以后说不定会在课文里面看到史丹利的预言之类的。好，这是我要走。
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Excellent. Your order will arrive shortly. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
所以这到底啥？没东西，算了。我没看到吗？我到时候再丢上去好了。对，我还没丢。可那也都只是完全闲谈而已啊。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
如果我只是站着的话，他是不是他是不是也有后续？他会讲一些话，对不对？稍微这边站久一点好了。看刚刚那个旁白完全在糊弄我，超长一段的，超级。 应该不会像前面那个结局一样这样子跟我讲说，就是拜托我赶快做些什么，对不对？他应该不会。老板办公室，我一开始进去的时候，我如果进去完全按照他讲的话，就会有红色的，就是他的墙壁是红色的。然后红色的之后，你要输入密码，密码输入完之后，你就会走到一个心灵控制所那边。然后那边有个 escape 的路线啊，所以其实可以过去看看。我印象中这边可以走那个。
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Wow. Yes. This room.
景价站。
What a beautiful room. What a gorgeous. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about... What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration?
跳下去好像就直接
Are
死
you
了。
that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance.
所以这些公司很恐怖。
Now listen carefully, this is important. Stanley walked through the red door. Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. You see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time. The problem is all these choices. The two of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop. We would both be so stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
啊，跟是一样的地方。
What do we want? What are we looking for? Here. Yes. Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley,
之前有人过这个。
I feel happy. I actually feel happy.
这段其实还蛮迷幻的，可以拿来作为一个就是什么那个 Shooting Star 的时候的那个背景的画面。这边完全就是让你放着当荧幕保护程式之类的。我真的太迷幻了。
No, wait. Where are you going? Right. Where were we?
然后再那你挥的是什么东西啊？
Oh no! Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. No! Oh, No. No, no, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You are literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore.
快感，还有什么？
us to get along,
这有什么快感好言吗
but I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
一次自杀一次不够，你有没有试过2次呢
A soft wind blew outside and perhaps rain started, and if it did, it stopped shortly after. Stanley hoped that he would one day see weather.
之前没这一段呢。之前没有讲到这一段呢。他没讲过这一段，所以算是比较奇妙的。然后接着可以走的是左边那一条，然后 escape 那条线。有中文之后，我就不用再翻译了，我就可以专心在这上面了，真的是。
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
其实他就是一次摔不死，为什么不试2次呢？
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
好像出不去了，也不能跳，所以妈，这个区怪怪的，有点像是漂白的痕迹。不确定是不是之前就有那么。哎，吓我一跳。To be rich, is this a crime? 想要那个成为富有的人是一种犯罪吗？To commit crime 什么东西啊 ？What a life it would be to have to pick just one 什么东西啊？我就只是走进厕所而已啊。妈，好像没什么东西啊，我还以为是走一个新区域了。哎，啊，可以往上。好了，不行，这还有好多个都好适合当做萤幕保护程式哦，就放着，然后让它就是一直像电梯在这边一直晃，哇，这样真的好棒，而且音乐还不错听，这点真好笑，还有太多一些还有点好笑的部分了。可是我以前好像没注意过这一扇，还是说是我要玩好几次才会出现这些东西啊？啊，我知道这个东西是，往上还是往下？ 啊，不都一样？这不就一样吗？什么改变都没有啊？还说其实有改变，我没意识到。
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley simply began entering random codes into the keypad, knowing full well the sheer statistical unlikelihood that this would ever result in a correct combination. If he knew that the combo was 2845, it would be another story entirely. But no, this is what he was going to do instead. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845.
(2845) 所以是
2845.
没有。倒过来写没有用啊，大概一定是。
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door
opened all by itself. 这也太台式了吧！
Well, whoop-de-doo.
太台式了一点吧？你讲了这么。然后启动了，启动了这边也不会关起来。啊，看起来完全没反应。不过我觉得这个东西大概也只能够玩到1个小时，这个好像不会到说就是复杂到会怎么样可能我等一下要换个游戏，不能走了。Escape 路线我来喽。
Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility.
啊，不对，我在想要不要走那个。它是还有一个按 Yes 或 No， 可是我觉得可能按 Yes 之后可能也不会怎样。
Although this passageway had the word Escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley would meet his violent death.
这个可以等一下可以看那个一些素材的，所以等一下再看好了。上次看素材说
Stanley thought better of it and realized he simply had too much to live for.
上次那个还有很多人可以看，只是上次是英文。
The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing.
有2个是毫无反应的，不知道发生什么事情。我以为只有1个是会被卡住，那一个是那个无法显示的，结果是有2个。
This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly?
对，你就按 yes 给你看。
He refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never. It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy or sad or content. Walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
这到底干嘛？这边有按键，可是按的其实也没有反应呢。这边有数字哎啊，这样子的话，1、2、3、4，4去哪里了？感觉这边可以按其他东西出来。按会有什么反应吗？等一下，还有个是5啊，1、2、3是5。上次我好像没注意到这个东西哦。然后现在按看看，说不定会发生什么事情。我会不会爆炸什么？哎，哎，等等啊，等会这边这几个按键是干嘛的？什么叫上次对？按 yes 之后吗？你刚刚要讲的应该是上去吧？
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley? It's your time to shine. You are the star. It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so little time left to enjoy it. Mere moments until the bomb goes off. But what precious moments each one of them is. More time to talk about you, about me, where we're going, what all this means. I barely know where to start. What's that? You'd like to know where your co-workers are? A moment of solace before you're obliterated? All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go. But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now? Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't. Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here, just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life, or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice.
这么刺激的吗？
Or don't. It's all the same to me, all a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say happily ever after.
后续嘞，好歹是，对，还真是爆炸，那这直接果断爆给你看呢，真是。
Already this was uncomfortable, and Stanley decided that as soon as he found a new space he felt safe in, that he would never leave it again in his life.
他开始讲一些没有讲过的话了。好了，然后接下来还有什么可以让我去的嘞 ？Escape 的那个我已经对，我要去那个 Escape 的地方。我觉得有点可惜的是，它有些地方应该可以做更多的结局，是不是没有？啊？接电话，我印象中是会跑出蛮恐怖的东西啊，所以我就不想接了。可是他刚这边的那一台电脑刚有反应了，所以到底是怎样？我怎么上去的 ？Input receive， 所以半路上我要先写出这些东西吗？这是不是太困难一点了？然后走那个我们大概会爆炸的那一段好了。这边没有得让我走上去的地方。这没办法让我上去啊。 我刚说我看过是这边可以让人家爬上去，可是这样不行。这个没办法让我直接上去，我想说这个地方可以走上去的。哇，看来这个地方我看大概解不了这一段。对，他这边没得用。哦，这毁灭路线啊！
Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors. He entered the door on his left.
走自残路线。我晓得这到底还没有更多的结局。我现在这样看得到了，我就只有知道这几个，其他我完全不晓
Yet
得。
there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
没东西。
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
哎，这边写不一样哎，我有感觉，什么 ？Money is for stealing, but it's not yours, of course. Say less than that. 这每一次他写的都不一样啊，太随机了吗？
The moment...
还真的骗过去了，天哪！他不让我过去了，他放弃了，我只能往下走了吧。这边还能走吗？没啊，哎，不对。 哎，这门一瞬间是完全开着的，哎，这不是封起来了吗？哎，啊，这段是什么界？这段有什么稀奇古怪的东西出来吗？没有啊，没有啊。等下，现在这一段是怎么回事？哦。 我走到了奇妙的地方啦 ！You are now leaving. 走上去。 什么事啊？这里完全不一样，是不是？太黑了，太黑了！我走到我之前从来没有走过的路线了。是走安全梯没有错啊，因为电梯没办法走了嘛。好，要走到那个什么760。 才可以吧，我猜。可是要说黑，真的是有够黑。路好像感觉不太一样啊。啊，没有一样，布置是一样的。 久了，这边还是一样，是不是没怎么改变过？连梯都不给，连灯都不给了。7楼已经到了 ，Escape Pub Lounge Bay。对。啊？啊？啥？等一下，撒回，这是什么鬼？这算个什么？这算个什么
His co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
什么？搞这一出你就跟我讲说，就只是
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers.
他喵！哎，没有嘞，有时候它会出现一些东西，有些不会嘞。
Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a
人太多
single
了。
difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
就啥都没有。好了，我决定，我就回到这边。这游戏基本上是这样子啦，因为有中文的关系，所以过得还蛮快的。所以因为我不用翻译，所以东西都跑很快啊。基本上你们也看得懂，所以我就不用多解释什么了。基本上它的结局还有，它还是有，可是有些东西我懒得跑，因为有些我看过了，看过之后就很懒得跑了。还有一些像是他强迫你去待不知道几个小时吧，然后结果还把你的游戏 shut down 之类的，那个也是有的。可是我不想碰这种会浪费太多时间的梗。我准备换个游戏。